Hello. Today we're going to talk about the warrior's path, and we need to um, give you a little history about where these teachings are coming from. So these are teachings from the Vidyadhara Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, um, traditional body of teachings that he brought to the West and are part of the Tibetan culture. The teachings focus on how to enlighten our society, create a sane society, and help this world. So Shambhala is secular, it's not a religion. People of all different cultures and religions are included. So we need to talk about Great Eastern Sun. Great Eastern Sun is the appreciation of the fundamental sacredness of life and lives of people from many different traditions. It is the encouragement of exploration of many different aspects of life, which include the visual arts, poetry, music, dance, everything that we can think of that um, inspires our aesthetic responses to life and enrichment of life. Great Eastern Sun is perpetually looking forward, and the sun is always shining. There is a spark of sacredness and health in every moment. So the Great Eastern Sun always shines. It is not affected by ignorance. Sun is the all-pervasive power and strength which illuminates our responsibility as well as our genuineness. Genuineness always shines through like the sun. Ego and egolessness. Ego is the name for all these ideas, images, and feelings that we have about who we are or want to be. For an example, you are an actor. You have a script, a role, a leading role in your life. So learning to be brave and completely genuine, you have no need for a script. You can be spontaneously open and present. Egolessness is the experience of experiencing our life without the reference points of ego. It's being completely genuine, who you are, and in the now, the present moment. Habitual patterns. We see only our own version of the world. Perception is very much individualized, centralized on self-consciousness. You are taking everything personally. Ego is being affected. Habitual patterns are connected with physical fatigue, restlessness, irritation over something that we don't like, or with tremendous longing, wanting something to happen. Habitual patterns are like reflexes. When shocked, we react. When attacked, we become defensive. When we feel inadequate, we use our habitual patterns to patch up the problem, or we invent the excuse so that we can shield our inadequacies from other people. Thought processes and emotions are transparent and taking place in the midst of nowhere in space. This is the positive space of skillful means, working with everyday life situations. It can only be seen through the experiencing of the space rather than the product, by becoming one with the emotion. Sometimes that may sound a little confusing and so forth, but if we look right now, every single one of us is in space. We're sitting in our room or wherever we are, and we're in space. And so the space of everyday life situations is someone walks through that door and we have an exchange with them. So that experience that we're having, that exchange that we're having is happening in space, in the positive space of skillful means. And it's skillful means because all of your wisdom is being engaged at this point so that you are happy, so that they are happy, if that's possible, and so forth, that you're skillful, so that the world runs happily along, completely sane. When we have an emotion, let's say that someone walks through that door that you have real problems with. Immediately, you'll feel your body kind of tense, contract a little bit. Your memories of that. Immediately, whatever exchange you have at that moment is a strained situation. So you've now lost, you're not any longer relaxed and in that space that you were before when nothing was happening. Now there's something building inside of you. There are emotions starting to happen. And the more emotions you have and the more you feed those emotions, the more you no longer exist in that space. You remove yourself from the space and you're totally engulfed with the emotions of whatever it is that you're feeling. And of course, anger we know is the worst of all, because with anger, it's so intense that there's no space at all in your mind. It's completely colored with the anger that you're feeling. So with the creation of a cocoon, and Rinpoche uses many times the example that we have wrapped up around us a cocoon of habitual patterns that we have created. So this cocoon is an analogy of our own creation made out of our own responses to fear. It is the perpetuation of habitual patterns. We cover up feelings of inadequacies. We can't handle the demands of our world, uncertainty and doubt. We avoid the rawness of our experience because we are afraid. For instance, somebody presents something to you, like maybe a strange food you've never seen before. Maybe you're in a restaurant or some place in the world where you're not familiar, and you look at it and you've decided through the look of it, not the taste of it, but the look of it, that it's something that you're not going to try. So when we talk about fear, it's not like, oh, you're trembling in fear. Fear is like any sense where you pull back from something or you don't allow an exchange that would happen ordinarily. It's because now there's something happening in you which is pulling you away one way or another. So fear is the first glimpse. Oh, that hesitation, that moment of no. And then cowardice becomes our habitual pattern. And we wrap ourselves in the cocoon of these habitual patterns. So stepping out of the cocoon, we are tender and shaky, but appreciating the journey, we can arouse our fearlessness again and again. So fearlessness is not recklessness. Fearlessness is in conjunction with accuracy and knowing the process of how to respond to the phenomenal world by means of our sense perceptions, our mind, and our sense of Great Eastern Sun. I like to think of Great Eastern Sun as that quality of eloquence, of decorum, of appropriateness and sensitivity that we have, culture, how we conduct ourselves, that extra sense of gentleness and so forth. So we make a commitment to hold our spot if possible and face our fear, our irritation or uncomfortableness. What happens from there is dependent on how skillful we have learned to be. Attempting to be genuine is enough to show us our fear. If you're in a room of people that have a completely different point of view than you notice right away, you're much more conscious of the actions that you would put forth at that point in time, because you know that there's an opposite response from what you yourself might have to whatever the action is going to be. So being genuine and being completely who you are requires sometimes, depending on the situation, a great deal of skillfulness. Fear lurks in our lives in everything that we do, how we move, talk, conduct ourselves. If you think about it, when you are uncomfortable and when you are relaxed, how that action manifests in space, manifests to whatever's happening in that space. There's definitely something. So fearlessness is also being without shyness. You might say, well, think about that. When you're shy, you're holding back. You're not wanting to actually reveal what you think or feel at that point in time for fear of some sort of response that you are anticipating. So fearlessness is being without shyness. Lack of gentleness comes from relying on our habitual patterns. If you're on automatic, then you're not totally aware or sensitive to everything that's happening in every action that you are taking because you're on automatic. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. I didn't notice that. That's because you do that all the time. This situation arises and this is what you do, and you don't necessarily think about the response to that particular action by everything in that space that you are now in. So experiencing the fear and not the cowardice allows the breakthrough from the cocoon. Being willing to open up to those patterns that you have that are on automatic. That's when you start tearing that cocoon apart a little bit, getting a little outside glimpse of freedom. So fearlessness is recognizing the cocoon of habitual tendencies and interpretations and facing those fears without running away. Fear is the expression of fearlessness. Fear has many faces: old age and death, abrupt fear, panic from new situations. Fear can manifest in the form of restlessness, doodles on notepads, hands in pockets, fidgeting in chairs. And when I say old age and death, I think of all the economies that are making billions and trillions of dollars for that facelift, the makeup, the appearance of holding on to, not experiencing old age. Whatever we can do to delay that, physically, intellectually, whatever. Fear hides in things that we need to do, don't have time to do, in the person we have to see and feel uncomfortable with, and that meeting we have to arrange and put it off. Fear exists in hesitations and doubts, anything unfamiliar and strange to our experience. Again, unfamiliar foods. There's a hesitancy there. Oh, let me try this. Oh yes. Well, it looks a little strange. Let me see. Do I really want to try that? I don't know. We have strategies to take our mind off fear: tranquilizers, magazines, shopping, and entertainment is embraced. So we're going to talk about the birth of the warrior. So the warrior notion is different from someone who makes war. We are referring to the blossoming of full dignity of our human existence. It's having consideration for others and being gentle to ourselves and others. It is the synchronization of body and mind and the absence of ego, duality. It is not about being a warrior, but the essence of warriorship. The warrior's birth begins with an honest examination of cocoon and one's fears. You're now under the microscope. You're looking at yourself. It is a way to begin to discover and express one's fearlessness. This is a way out of the cocoon. So the path of the warrior then is the discipline of fearlessness, recognizing fear when it arises and not running away from it. You are looking into your state of mind. Why did I do that? Why am I feeling like this? Where did that come from? We face forward, going into and through the fear, giving birth to warriorship. We learn to recognize first thought or direct experience itself, and second thought, which is the conceptual elaboration on the direct experience. For example, you are cooking, you're making a soup, and you say to the person with you, oh, would you taste this and see if there's too much salt? So the person takes the spoon and takes a sip. The experience, there's no commentary yet. Oh, it's too salty. It's not. No, the experience comes first. Oh, yes, it does need a little bit more. And we do that with sound. All of our senses. That's why the senses are so important, because the senses take you directly to the experience without the overlay of the conceptual dialogue. that comes after that, or the perceptions of how we want to perceive something that fill and color the experiences that we have or want them to be. So the important thing is that there is no concept of being involved in a battle of ego or on the side of good. You're not for or against. Your perceptions are not in play here. It's the actual experience that is what we are looking. The one is fully in the present moment. You are fully there. Conceptual comes later. So in essence, our life is the practice of meditation. We simplify everything down to the immediate present practice of what one is doing without expectations, without judgments, and without opinions. You're holding in space. You're experiencing that space. It's not colored by your opinions and your judgments. You're holding in space with the experience. In the practice of meditation, our problems are our only working basis. Without our problems, we have no working basis. We have no path. How can we learn anything? We have to use what we're doing every day. This is the experience of our lives. This is it. There's nothing else. It's our own experience. It's our life. This is our working basis. It's not like, oh, well, I'm going to do my meditation. I do my meditation practice every day. Your meditation practice is, yes, that sitting on that cushion or doing that formal practice, whatever, is very important, because without that, you never have an opportunity to be able to recognize your natural state of being, the mind. And that's why boredom is so important. Because if you just have thoughts, as the Tibetans say, you have monkey mind, you zipping here, oh, I see the red. Oh, that red, that I have a dress that's exactly that color. And in my garden, there are red flowers as well. Red, I think that's a very seductive color. And you go from one thing to another thing, and it is endless. So being able to be bored gives you the opportunity to recognize the thoughts, the jumping around from here and there, sweeping everywhere in space, hold in space, to recognize thoughts as thoughts for what they are, energy arising, thought, but yet you still have your awareness. You can have your thoughts, providing that they don't take you away from where you are in the present moment and you lose your life in fantasy, in dreamland. So the ground that we have is personal experience, obstacles, seductions, paranoia, depressions, openness. There's no environment other than your thoughts. There is no environment other than your thoughts. So meditation practice. In meditation practice, you are neither for or against your experience. You don't praise some thoughts and condemn others. It's an unbiased approach. Thoughts are not good or bad. They are thoughts. So there aren't any good thoughts, and you can have good thoughts and bad thoughts. They're thoughts. That's it. It's so simple. You express your existence directly, non-conceptually, not for or against you. In meditation, you have echo. When you do your practice, you learn to go out with the out breath gap, come in with the in breath, and so on. And then throughout, not only on your formal meditation practice, but also when you're in your life experience, you find you're taken away, but then you always come back to what you're doing, washing your dishes, whatever it is that you're working on, you're always coming back to where you are, to this moment, what's happening here. That is called echo. And the echo is coming back to reality, coming back to space, to where you are, here and now. And in the process of losing your awareness, you regain it. Because of the process of losing it, slipping in itself corrects itself. So, oh, I was away in discursiveness. Ah, but now you're back. So that is echo. Echo is you coming back, recognizing you were slipping away, and now you're back. So the process begins with first seeing and identifying our fears and how they manifest. Within boredom, we can watch our various mental habits play themselves out. This is when you're on your cushion and you are so bored and thoughts are arising. And sometimes in Trungpa Rinpoche's Sangha, and I'm sure in other Sanghas as well, other communities, Buddhist communities, when they do meditation practice, he has something called a datun, where you go and you, for a month, and you basically sit on your cushion. I mean, there's little work periods and then there's tea time. But for the most part, you start in the morning and you're doing sitting practice of meditation all day. And during that time, you have thoughts that keep reoccurring over and over, and you get so tired of seeing that same thought come back again and again. So with boredom, you begin to see the various mental habits that play themselves over and over again. So one takes a non-judgmental attitude of exploration toward the qualities of feelings. There's no judgment. What it is that you're recognizing. It's not, oh, that was bad. Oh, that was good. Oh, I wish I'd done this, da, da, da. No, it has to be a situation where you're just noticing, non-judgmental. You're learning something. You're learning something new. And it's about you and how you work, how you are, why you do the things you do, all of those little idiosyncrasies that exist within yourself. So we must move on. We must recognize and let go, dissolve. Let go, dissolve. The more you think about something, the more you feed it energy, the more emotionally you get tied up in it, the more you lose your sense of space. So mindfulness practice is a way of returning to the simplicity of the breath, to the present moment of now, to experiencing our genuineness, who we are. Here now, in the present moment, is the only way that we can actually experience our lives fully, grow and develop, and become warriors by holding our spot of discomfort, insecurity, whatever, and begin to relate directly with our energy, our lives. Otherwise, we spend our lives fleeing, pretending, ignoring. We cheat ourselves from living fully. We begin to develop allegiance to our Buddha nature, our basic essence, to the fullness of our life's experience, feeling the texture and space of our existence. So sitting practice, if possible, 1 hour per day is recommended, or at least a few times a week. Consistency is important. So another working with ourselves is working with emotions as a path of awakening. And how you do this is you bring attention to where you are right now. You stay with the energy without acting out or repressing. Notice how your body is feeling. Pains, aches, sensations of heat and cold, places where you are tight or relaxed. What kind of mood are you in? What emotions do you notice? It's important to have an attitude of curiosity and openness rather than judgment. Let the emotions be and connect with what they feel like. So what you're doing here is you do not want to repress, push down. Then you become a volcano ready to explode at some point. You connect and feel what they feel like. Tsoknyi Rinpoche says, be willing to feel some discomfort. At some point, emotions as a path is based on simply letting the emotion be just as it is. Don't suppress or be carried away to their basic substance. Seeing emotions as they are is the practice of shunyata, or emptiness. Emotions are seen through. This is the ultimate practice of nonviolence, no good or bad. Rinpoche, I remember him saying at one time that when you first start out, you see someone perhaps that you had bad relationships with. And so you can feel the hairs on the back of your neck starting to stand. You can feel the anger arising, and there's somewhat of a little apprehension or a little fear of what's going to happen. Is it going to take you over, or and so on. And then at some point, if this becomes your practice, at some point when you see that person and you have those feelings, there's a sense of joy and happiness. Oh, let's see what happens now. It's like it has turned around. It has now become um, a sense of you're happy, you're getting to work, you're getting to practice, you're you're going to see how this comes about. You're no longer afraid of those feelings of anxiety and so forth that you see. It's like, oh, so there's a whole progression here that actually takes place. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the four foundations of mindfulness. Those are very traditional in just about all of our Buddhist traditions. So the first one is body mindfulness. There is a sense of groundedness. The psychosomatic body has a sense of being. The best technique is working with the breath, the out breath. Breathe out, gap, in breath just comes in. So this is a sense of when you're feeling, when you're doing your formal practice, especially your body. You feel your body, you are there. You feel that presence, body here, sitting, being. So the body creates the general setting. It brings meditation into the psychosomatic setup of our own life, body. The next one is life, life mindfulness. So life makes meditation personal and intimate. Touch and go. You are there, present and mindful, and then you let go. It's like, in a sense, you feel your body, you're there, and you relax and let go. Space. Just open to the space. So that openness is necessary because there's where your confidence is. Just when you let go, that openness, you're there. There's no battle happening. You are there. There's no thought, nothing sweeping you away. You're open, open in the space. So life mindfulness brings clarity, skill, intelligence. All of that is available to you right there, right now, in that moment. From the experience of the framework of intense psychosomatic confusion, we experience the real body. We are simply tuning into what is already happening instead of projecting anything further. You're there for whatever it is that arises in that moment. You're there. So you are tuning in directly to the process of life. The process is the essence of here and now. You are responding without any implications or motives. It's totally there. There's no projects, strategies. You're there in the openness. Whatever happens, you're there. You're ready. Whatever that is, just open. Effort mindfulness. Effort makes meditation workable. It connects the foundations of mindfulness to the path. It actualizes the practice, I'm so sorry. It makes it move, proceed. It includes the discipline needed to create the environment where flash can happen. That's the moment where, you're open and there it is, a flash. Your awareness becomes aware of something that if you had been strategizing and so forth, that open moment to allow something else to enter in would not be there. Recognize that working with emotions is the path to awakening. An unshakable confidence comes from this experience. Others are also affected. The practice of refraining requires a mindful gap before we speak or act. A mindful gap before we speak or act goes back to holding in space, just allowing it to settle before we immediately respond. Impulse. We try to connect to its energy directly and intimately, know its essence, not just with conceptual mind. We come to experience it as a form of wakeful energy, and it loses its power to disturb us. This is a direct path to enlightenment. In other words, you're not caught up with the perceptions and the thoughts about what you think, and you're open. And because you're open, you can feel the energy of that moment. You can feel the energy of what is happening. And from that, you can be spontaneously open and react from that point of view, which is not prejudicial and preconceived and strategized. I'm not saying that you should not have intelligence. You should always, your wisdom is always there. Your wisdom always is primary, but we have to allow for that wisdom to open and see what is there in front of us, feel the energy of that which is there in front of us without all of the conceptual going on in our mind. We're back to our senses, extending out and feeling that space and being noticing without the judgment and the opinions and all of that that's going on there. It's like opening into your intuition in some sense, to your spontaneity, the spontaneity of your wisdom, your kindness, your compassion. So then we have mind mindfulness. This is the fourth foundation of mindfulness. It is being watchful rather than watching something. It is intelligent alertness rather than the mechanical business of simply observing what happens. There is a sense of light-handedness. It's because you're not ready to jump at something. You're not ready to come back with something. There's light-handedness. There's space in everything that you do, how you move, how you talk. Conflict are regarded as a necessary part of this process of mindfulness. At the same time, conflicts have to be controlled enough so we can come back to mindfulness of breathing. There is the balance of not being lost in daydreams, nor missing the freshness and openness from not holding attention too tightly. This is wakefulness, mindfulness. Mindfulness of mind is being with your mind. You are there. If you realize you are not there, you are there. Nowness, a little dot, one dot at a time, one shot reality is all there is. Everything happens only once. Two things can't happen at once. Mindfulness is the act and the experience happening at the same time. You just do it with absolutely no implication behind what you are doing, not even mindfulness. That's a quote from Trungpa Rinpoche. That's called spontaneous presence. You're relating completely on the spot, in the moment, from your point of wisdom, not conceptually thinking, strategizing, open, spontaneous wisdom, spontaneous presence. It's like a tennis player who's in a tournament and you know that your opponent has a weak backhand. And so you've studied hard. You've studied the whole, everything that you could possibly know about this player and their game. You know, you've researched it really well. Now you go into the game. Now you let go of everything. Because if you're just thinking about that backhand, you will lose. Because, if you have a chance when you're playing and you see backhand, then you do the backhand. That's one thing. But if you're just concentrating on the backhand, you're missing all the other things that are happening. So that's kind of like an afterthought. You're present, you're fully there, you're on the spot. It's happening right here, right now. Everything is happening right here, right now. So if you're just thinking about the backhand, you most likely will lose. So from the Dalai Lama, feel the feeling, but don't become the emotion. Witness it, allow it, release it. Feel the feeling, but don't become the emotion. Witness it, allow it, release it. And from Eckhart Tolle, rather than being your thoughts and emotions, be the awareness behind them. That pretty well sums up. If we can do those things, we are in good shape, to say the least. So fruition Because we create the cocoon, we can uncreate it. Challenges are the working basis. There is a growing appreciation that difficulties are not fundamental obstacles to experiencing our basic goodness, our Buddha nature, our primal purity, whatever you want to call it, our basic being, our essence. Discovering the freshness of our experiences is the first opening of the cocoon. When faced with fear, we can go in and out of fear. We can do it. Freedom and fearlessness are the result. This is called, in the Shambhala tradition, the imperial attitude. When the secular becomes sacred, we begin to discover the true war. And that is, so then the true war, the secular, is every moment of our life, every situation that we are in. It doesn't just happen for certain situations in certain times. It's happening every second. That's why our awareness, there's no time off. It's 24/7. You're either doing your formal practice or you're living your life. And as experiences arise in your life, you're relating to them. That's the secular moment. So it's ongoing, always, every second, every moment of our lives. Sharpening our awareness, we see the contrast of cocoon and direct sense perceptions and give birth to warriorship. When you have no doubt, you do not rely on or are dependent on feedback, encouragement, or discouragement. That's having confidence. The warrior has confidence. There is no warrior without confidence. If somebody comes and says something to you, oh, you did da 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 da, you take a moment and you look at that and you decide from your confidence, oh, I missed that. Now you've got it on target. Now you know what you need to be working on, that you missed that. So there's no doubt. You don't have to wait for people, oh, I feel so bad, da da da, You're on it all the time. You're looking all the time. You also have no need to display your valor to others. Where is that coming from? Ego, duality. There's no place for ego. Ego is your cocoon. Ego developed the cocoon. We don't need the cocoon. We are not the cocoon. Our primal purity, our basic essence is compassion, kindness, caring, humbleness. So initial stages are unpleasant and fear inspiring. Open completely to the pain or fear and welcome it. In this way, the barriers created by one's own habitual emotional reactions and prejudices are broken down. Meditation is a natural function of everyday life. To meditate is to pass beyond effort, aims, and goals. Oh, look at what I did. I was able to do that. Da, 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 da. No. Once you see it, there's no effort, I'm going to be perfect. You have all these goals. No, it's the moment that is happening. There's no, oh, how well I did that. That is not it. That is the wrong road. That is the road of the cocoon, of reinforcing, hiding anything that would be, oh, I hope nobody saw that. When performing meditation practice, one should think of it as just a natural function of everyday life, like eating and breathing, not as a special formal event to be undertaken with great solemnity and seriousness. The individual journey of warriorship must be taken before we can address the larger issue of how to help this world. Good behavior is to communicate our respect for others and develop self-control so we can extend ourselves to others. Gentle speech expresses our dignity. Gentle and tamed human beings who can make a genuine contribution to this world is the goal. And with that, I would like to dedicate the merit by this confidence of the great eastern sun. May the lotus garden of the Rigdon's wisdom bloom. May the dark ignorance of sentient beings be dispelled. May all beings enjoy profound, brilliant glory. Thank you for joining me today.